Everyone. I'm joined by Keith Whatling, Alison Mulligan, and Chris Huntingford, and we're going to be talking about Power Platform and how all of our guests have been involved with Hack4Good. So, hi Keith, hi Chris, hi Alison. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. And so the first things first. Chris, you were going to tell us a little bit about what is Hack4Good. I know you've all been involved, but tell the audience what it is and why we want to get involved.
All right, so thank you very much for having me. Hack4Good is an awesome community initiative that myself and the team have worked together to put together for the community and the surrounding, I'll say, communities such as the SharePoint community, Dynamics, Modern Workplace, etc. And what we really wanted to do was just try and bring everyone together under this platform of Hack4Good, which is primarily a Power Platform initiative. And the whole idea is that we really wanted to work with organizations to solve problems. And a lot of the time we just didn't have the opportunity. So we put the advert out there. We just hoped for the best. We wanted to give the solutions away. We had 390 attendees register, which is absolutely crazy. We had about 40 different countries from all over the world. So many people participated. We had something like 49 solutions uploaded to the GitHub repository, which we'll be able to share with you later. And the thing that was really awesome that I noticed was the fact that so many different types of people joined. Right. It was really, really inclusive. And I think that's what makes Hack4Good really special, is that we just had so many different variations of people and all these crazy personalities running around. So I thought it would be a really good idea maybe for Keith to run us through some of the things that he saw during the hack. So Keith, over to you.
Yeah, so I mean, my name's Keith. I'm a failed developer, right? So like, I always think it's amazing what you can do with the Power Platform. And the thing that really hit me on the day, the thing that really blew my mind was there was a team called BTD, BTD even, by the devs, right? And they were amazing because they had 2 devs and 2 students who had not done anything with the Power Platform before. And it was just incredible, the amount of cool stuff they churned out. Like 2 people at the end of their journey and 2 people at the beginning. And it really harkens back to what this thing's all about. You know, we're building solutions for people and enabling people to build solutions like they've never done before. So I like to think of it like I can decorate my house, right? I've been decorating my house for years, and I think that's a little bit like Microsoft Office, right? Painting, putting the wallpaper up and all that kind of thing. But I've gotten a bit bored of that DIY. I want to do a bit more now, and I want to redo my bathroom, and I want to have a go at plumbing the sink and the toilet in and all that kind of stuff. And that's a little bit more complicated. And I'd normally call a plumber to do it, but the Power Platform allows me to do that. And what it does for the devs is it allows them to not bother hanging a toilet roll holder on the wall and sort of plumbing in the sink, putting a submit box on the screen, and all that boring stuff. And it allows them to go off and build a water treatment plant, the aquifer, the water fountain, the water park, all the cool stuff they've always wanted to build. But they've been hamstrung by having to do some sort of, just bog standard UI that's just boring. So Power Platform for me is totally setting it free. And when you look at Hack4Good, you see that they're turning out semi-finished work by the end of the day. And it's not this bit doesn't work, this bit's under construction. It was fully formed minimum viable products by the end of a day, a day. And that's just absolutely incredible. And I see this notion of empowering people to be something akin to kind of this idea of digital inclusion, where because it's so much easier to build an app now, you can have the cleaner have as good an app as the CEO. And I think that makes that person's job feel like they're more included, because, I come from a transport background. All the drivers are sitting there going, oh, the robot's going to come and take our job. Why should I bother? But if you put an app in their hand, apps are expensive. So you kind of think that, well, I'm part of the digital future. And that's amazing. You're transforming people's lives just by including them in technology. We talk about the inclusion, but actually the biggest exclusion is the fact that people haven't got tech. And I just see that everywhere, absolutely everywhere.
So I just want to pick up on a couple of things that Keith mentioned. My name's Alison Mulligan. I'm a confirmed power addict, and there's nothing I love more than the Power Platform. And one of the things that we saw whilst doing the Hack for Good, the MBAS Hack for Good, was, as Keith said, we had pro developers alongside students who hadn't had very little or no experience in the Power Platform. And to see everybody empowering others and imparting knowledge was exactly where Microsoft and the community want to be. And it was really impressive to see that I would drop into some of the teams and they would perhaps have a problem with something like a portal, and they didn't have enough experience to do what they needed to do. And so we would hook them up with other experts who were available to support them during their hack. And nobody's afraid to ask for help. And that's one of the beauties of this Power Platform community, is that there is support and advice and help available to anyone and everybody. And from a functional perspective, going back to what Keith said, like I may decorate my house, but I'm not building a water treatment plant, or I can play with Lego and I can build something with Legos, but maybe I want to build a Millennium Falcon, and maybe I need a specific part that's a piece of molded plastic that's a gun, a specific gun that goes on the front of the ship. Now, I don't have an injection molding plant and the engineering expertise to be able to build that specific part. And that's where the devs come in. The devs are building those specific parts for people like me who don't know how to code, to be empowered, to be able to build the things that they want to build that are of benefit to ourselves, but also to the wider community and to the world as a whole, to follow on that mission of being able to empower everybody to be able to achieve what they want. For example, some of the solutions I saw on the Hack for Good, we had BTD did a brilliant piece of geolocation that meant that you were able to see on a map people who were providing a service and people who were in need of that service, and you could match people locally, which could be hugely valuable in the COVID world. Then you have CPS, who had built, they'd used a Raspberry Pi to create and was creating a schedule to switch off IoT devices, which they were lamps in this instance, but it could be anything. You can immediately see as a functional person how that would be how people would be able to apply that to what they're trying to do with their apps. And one of my personal favorites was Automotion Gold, who had they wanted to build a portal for people to be able to input their information. But they realized very quickly that almost everybody using this solution would be using it on mobile. So they had to surface the portal inside an app to make it accessible on mobile. And it's that thought to how people are going to make things inclusive for people and how it can empower people to be able to use the technology to be able to achieve what they need to achieve that I find particularly impressive. And I think you feel the same way, Chris.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, Alison. Thank you. I mean, I know from a functional perspective, we've heard from Keith, who does the citizen development side of things, from your side, which is the functional, and then I had the pleasure of working with some of the pro dev side. So believe it or not, folks, I'm an ex-developer. I used to work for Borland. I'm kind of doing the Microsoft thing now, which is awesome. But when we were chatting to these different folk building out these solutions, I didn't have to worry about making the icon cornflower blue in the top right-hand side of the screen. Normally when I was doing UX and UI, writing code in the background, that was something that I really had to focus on. Now I don't. I can apply my skills where I really need to by creating things like custom connectors and Power Apps components and those awesome things that rely on TypeScript to my knowledge of JavaScript and C#. And that really is great for me. And what I love doing, Alison made the reference to Lego and her requiring a Lego piece to go and build out the rest of the solution. I love watching people delving through the components of the Power Platform and needing me to build a piece that they can reuse over and over again. And that for me is really, really awesome. So if you're a pro dev, I'd really encourage you to go and take a look at some of the awesome functionality out there and maybe potentially even start building out some of these solutions that you can share with the wider community. So Amy, back over to you.
Yeah, I love the different perspectives, right? Each one of you has a core strength, and actually the Power Platform is helping all of you. So I guess, I should dabble a little bit more myself. I have done a little bit, and the nicety of it is I can focus on like the data science and the AI side, but I can still surface this amazing app like so quickly. But thank you so much for sharing all your perspectives. I think the key thing the audience is going to be asking here is, where do I go now? So where did you all learn or get into the Power Platform? What's the best landing space?
I think that, like, I clicked on the button. I think that's it. I mean, I said to a dev the other day, it's on the waffle. You know, what's the difference between your code and my code? Is my code's on the waffle. And this is a replacement for me for Visual Basic for Applications, the finest business tool in the world. And I've just been, I don't touch Excel anymore. I don't write macros anymore. I now write cool Power Apps and flows. And I just say go build, like do the app in a day course. Get on a Microsoft course, download the coursework from aka.ms/app in a day, and just start playing. And like, think about for the devs out there, it's all OData connectors. So you can build some really cool stuff and expose things. You can build, Power Platform connectors to expose what you've already built to the Power Platform. We've seen some awesome stuff from people on that. And that enables me to do more, and it also enables you to reach more people, because you've got to think, right, there's, what was it, like, 3 million Power Apps makers in the world. It's more than that now, like some ridiculous number. And that means that you can reach more end users than ever before if you're building great stuff that we can put in our apps. So go do that. Like, if you do anything, go do that as a pro dev.
I would say, I would say another thing you can do is just, if you tap into your community, if you go to Twitter and you search on the hashtag Power Addicts, you'll find all kinds of people building all kinds of things on there that will lead you into the community and lead you into building Power Apps and Power Automate and stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that.
Sorry, Chris, I was just going to say, like, there's a story from where I used to work, and a dude was building this, like, Python thing to interact with Exchange, and it was taking him a month, and it was going to be his, like, his modus operandi, whatever it is, his sort of like great work, this huge thing he was building. And I said, have you tried doing that in Flow or Power Automate? And he did, and he did it in about 15 minutes, and he just said these words: that was unreassuringly easy. And it worked, and it kept working. And I'm just like, you know what, like, don't sweat the big stuff, because sweat the big stuff, let the small stuff take care of itself. That's what the Power Platform's there for. Sorry, Chris, you were saying, dude.
No, that's bang on, man. I just think that, from the community perspective, I've reached out to the likes of Scott Duro. There's loads, Ivan Fitzko, loads of people out there that are really, really keen on helping out, and that's from a pro dev perspective. I mean, one very, very valuable tool that I would say you should use is go into Microsoft Learn and go and take a look at those learning paths. My wife, Nicole, is currently learning Power BI as we speak while I sit here. And she built her first Power App yesterday, and she's never done it before. So it's awesome. I'd say just use the resources out there and get tapped into the community. It is the most amazing place and the amazing thing you can do.
That's fantastic. Well, we are going to need to wrap up. Thank you so much, Keith, Alison, and Chris, for joining us. I guess one of the key call to action here you told me about was the virtualenthubs.com. virtualenthubs.com. Go there, and that's where you'll find everything people need to find out about Hack4Good, Power Platform, where to learn, just like getting involved. Okay, well, yeah, super. Thanks, everyone. Looking to continue supporting our Build for Good initiative, why don't you check out Microsoft Build Cloud Skills Challenge? Develop new skills through Microsoft Learn, earn a chance to win some prizes, but also support some amazing charities. Think UNICEF, Code.org, Nature Conservancy, etc. So for more information, head to Microsoft Learn. Coming up after the break, I'm really excited that we're actually going to be talking about quantum computing. Stay tuned.